Laheating, hello everyone and welcome to my Queer channel. I'm your host Queer-chan and today we're going to continue our look at the ChibiPokeHouse line. Now until now we've been having a look at the sets that I had growing up as a child, which have more or less formed the backbone of my collection and actually inspired me to collect this relatively unknown line of Pokemon toys. Today, however, we're going to skip ahead a bit and have a look at one of the more recent sets in my collection, both acquisition-wise and chronologically, because I believe this may actually be the very last set that they made in the ChibiPokeHouse line. And it is the Ilex Forest set. Now, I got this one towards the end of my year living in Estonia. Remarkably, I actually had it shipped all the way from Japan to Estonia. I got the very last one on the Japanese Amazon, so I do apologise to anyone who might hope to collect this set. However, as we go on, you may actually find that perhaps this set isn't really worth collecting, and I'll get to that in just a moment. For now though, we'll just do a quick go around. As you can see, it's one of the smallest, if not the smallest sets in the larger set series. It's got some nice paintwork on the back, some nice little decals. So as I've said before, I've got relatively small hands and I can cover, you know, a good part of the playset just with my hands alone. Unfortunately, as you can see, being such a small set, like the others, it does suffer a little bit from a lack of features, but what it lacks in features, I think it makes up for very much in decoration. I love the way that the leaves are painted. I love the shading and the highlighting, little berry trees going on here. I'll tilt it up so you can see the paintwork on the base. Nicely painted little flowers. Nicely painted stream here, and you probably can't see it on camera, but the plastic that they've put on the stream, or not really stream, the lake, pond, thing, water, is actually wavy to make it look like some very nice waves on the surface, which I thought was a very nice touch. I think you can kind of see it when I tilt it like that. As always, the ChibiPokeHouse line always has the loveliest paintwork. It's very accurate, no smearing, no missed paint jobs, no anything actually. It's, as I say, it's a very high quality line, I think, just in terms of the paintwork alone. The only thing I don't quite understand is the shrine here, which I am 110% certain that in the film it was not bubblegum pink. In fact, I think it might have just been stone grey. So I'm not 100% certain as to their colour choice in this instance. I suppose it has to appeal to young children, so, you know, brighter colours as opposed to everything being stone grey. If I did have another one of these sets, I would probably paint it stone grey just to, you know, make it sort of match with the rest of the scenery. Before I go on to the features, I'll just show you the little figures that you get with the set. Let's see. You've got your standard Pikachu, and actually I rather like this Pikachu because he's holding a little berry in his hand and I think it's absolutely adorable. Let's see, you get Tyranitar, I believe, who's the villain in that film? The Masked Marauder? Something actually really silly like that. Scizor, I believe those were his two Pokemon. Celebi, of course. And, of course, Suicune. Now, I mentioned in a past video that growing up I had a bit of an obsession with Lugia. Unfortunately, it developed into a bit of an obsession with Suicune as well, and even to this day Suicune is one of my favourite Pokemon. I think it is easily one of the most beautiful Pokemon ever made. or rather ever created. And when I saw this set, again, this was kind of a motivation to actually buy the set. I thought it would be a great little Suicune figure to go with my Entei figure. Until I opened the box and I realised it was on this great big huge massive base, and I'll actually get to that in a moment when I go through the features of the playset. So we'll just move these aside for the time being. Oh, before I forget, one more thing you get, of course, as is standard with ChibiPokeHouse sets, is your little bridge accessory so that you can interconnect the various sets. Again, why it's bubblegum pink, I don't know, particularly given that many of the other sets come with colour-appropriate accessories. Seriously, I don't understand that. Why is it bubblegum pink? Why pink? Moving swiftly on. You probably noticed when I tilted it upwards the first couple of times that the pond, or I don't know what to call it, it was a lake in the film, but it's more like a pond here, have these sort of dark blue blocks inside them, and I'll actually get to those in a minute. Regarding the features, again, it does suffer, like the other smaller sets, from having sort of a lack of features, and a lack of interesting features at that. The first one is another one of those features where, again, sounds good in theory, but in practice it's just a good way to lose your Pokemon. I'm going to do this with Tyranitar. Sorry, my throat is horribly dry today, once again. And you flip him off. Insert your own joke here. Again, not the most interesting, or actually really the most functional of accessories. I think you're supposed to hit it quite hard, but again, when you do that, you just risk losing your Pokemon. The next feature, of course, makes use of the very nice decals. I have to say, for all the lack of features that this set has, it does have, I think, absolutely beautiful decorations. I love the group of Pokemon here. Again, I've said I'm loving the paint job here. We'll get to this area in just a minute. But this feature, again, references when Sam and Ash in the film watched the Metapod evolving into Butterfree, and basically you just pull the lever down and it reveals a Butterfree. Very simple. I suppose you could put, you know, little Pokemon up there. Put Scizor up there. I keep wanting to say Sheezor. Star Wars for you. Again, not really the most interesting of features. And then the final feature is a sort of a fourfold even feature. And we're going to use Suicune, Pikachu and Celebi to demonstrate that for you. Now, the reason I chose these three is, again, now I'm actually going to explain why Suicune has the base that you see. This is actually a fairly unique set in that it actually has magnets in it. And that's the reason why Suicune needs such a large base. You can actually see the magnet there. And that's why the pond has these little blocks in it, because they have magnets on them. And if you stick Pikachu on it, you'll notice that he can move around. Or rather, that the block will move him around when activated. So we'll put Pikachu and Suicune on the lake. Then of course you've got this other accessory, which again has a magnet on the end, and Celebi can sit on it. It's a pretty good magnet too. I mean, it's relatively strong, so young children aren't going to lose their figures from using this feature very easily. I'm just going to tilt the camera up so you can see it in view. And what you do is, you see this knob over here. You're supposed to turn it, and you got four things, I think. Four things happening at once. The first, as you can see, is that Pikachu and Suicune move around the lake. Unfortunately, these three are the only figures in the set that have magnets on them, so you can't do it with Scizor or Tyranitar. Tyranitar actually would have been a very good one, although it probably wouldn't have made much sense to have Tyranitar flying around the Ilex forest. The second one you've noticed, I'm sure, is that Celebi is flying around. Let's see if I can actually get this a bit more smooth. Towards the top. Unfortunately, the knob doesn't work terribly well. It is an older set, don't forget. The next feature, as I'm sure you can see here, is you get a change of 3 different scenes in the trees. First, you've got the sort of wooden monster that Celebi became towards the climax of the film. Then you've got the group of Celebi who come and revive the film's Celebi. There's a lot of Celebi in that film. And then, of course, this really should have been the first scene, it's the one I tend to keep it on, is the Butterfree from the scene with Sam and Ash. And then finally, some of you might have noticed towards the back there, you have Teddy Ursa and Ursaring popping out. Because I believe in the film, didn't they? They led Ash and Celebi towards the lake, didn't they? It's been a very long time since I saw the film. It was definitely one of my favourites as a child. Not least because, did it remind anyone else of Mononoke Hime, of Princess Mononoke, that absolutely gorgeous Miyazaki film? That whole scene with Ursaring and Teddy Ursa just leading them to the lake, it reminded me so much of when San leads Ashitaka to the island in the middle of the lake to be healed or killed or whatever by the forest spirit. I don't know, I just felt as though the film drew so many sort of, I don't know, inspirations from Mononoke Hime, and again, it's probably one reason why I loved the film so much as a child, because Mononoke Hime has always been one of my favourite films. Going back to the set though, that's it for the features, I'm afraid. As I've said, it's not really the most interesting of sets feature-wise. I said in the in my last couple of videos that you could find the you know, the sets online, particularly the Type D and sometimes the Type B, if you were patient enough. However, as I've said earlier, this was literally the last one on the Japanese Amazon site, and I haven't seen any more anywhere since that time. So this set is literally harder to find than a holographic Newt Gunray, which is really saying something. But I have to say, I personally don't think it's horrendously essential in a ChibiPokeHouse collection, and especially if you're looking to buy it for a child, you know, if I'm brutally honest, I would probably say skip this set. It's incredibly small. It has, I think, a very small sort of playing area in it, and not the most interesting of playing areas. I mean, all the trees and everything, as nice as they are, they're just hard decorations. You can't really hide a Pokemon in the tree or, you know, anything like that like you can with the Type D set. The features aren't tremendously interesting. They'll probably maybe entertain a young child for 10 minutes before they move on. I mean, of course, you know, young children have their imagination and probably could have many adventures with this set, but personally, if I had been given this as a child, I probably would have ignored it in favour of one of the larger sets. So, you know, again, if you're looking to really spend the money on a child and buy them a ChibiPokeHouse set, skip this one. It's not the most interesting, and honestly, get them the Type D. If you have to get your child one ChibiPokeHouse set, get them the Type D. It's one of, if not the biggest, it's easily the most interesting and, you know, one of the most beautiful and certainly one of the cutest sets. And honestly, it's actually the easiest to find of them. So yeah, give this one a miss. It's a nice set. I'm glad to have it. I'm glad to have it in my collection, but I wouldn't call it absolutely essential unless you're a die-hard collector, or maybe a collector of, you know, the fourth film stuff, or Celebi stuff, I mean, or even Suicune stuff. I know there's one collector out there who actually got this set. They collect the legendary beasts, and they got this set again specifically because of the Suicune figure. Speaking of which, I'm sadly disappointed there was never a set with Raikou in it. That would have been really nice to actually complete the beasts, you know, in ChibiPokeHouse form. I really feel like Raikou got the short end of the stick. He didn't get a theatrical film, he got sort of a half-assed TV film, I believe, where they completely changed Eugene's character. Although, didn't Chris make an appearance in it? You know, the blue-haired girl from Pokemon Crystal? I don't know, I'm rambling. Yeah. Final thoughts, again, not the most interesting of sets. Very beautiful, but just not too much play value, in my opinion. And that's about it for this set. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I've been Quair-chan, you've been amazing. Hit the like, share with your friends, have a laugh, do whatever you like. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I do videos 2 to 3 times a week. I do collectibles, and I'll be reading to you soon. So if you like, you know, a good scary story every now and then, hit that subscribe. For now though, thank you very much indeed for watching, and may the Force and Neimoidians and Pokemon be with you.